It's Mike Reiner of Your Dark Companion here, wanting to thank you all for joining us on patreon.com throughout the year, or that portion of the year that we've been doing this. Also, don't forget to check out the Sunset Lounge. There you can find podcasts such as The Clubhouse. The Clubhouse is your one-stop shop for all things sports, pop culture, entertainment, pro wrestling. Who knows what else these guys might get into. I love these guys. They're great. Since 2010, they brought their knowledge and passion for these subjects and so much more to the internet in a way that is entertaining and engaging. Their show is family friendly, so it's okay to sit down with grandma and be a part of all their shenanigans. They are The Clubhouse. They're at the Sunset Lounge.
Nobody would have thought that I would be the one. Reiner, sports talk. Baseball, 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 baseball.
Oh, with the big mic. Oh, okay. All right, yeah. Okay, now I get it.
We had a lightning strike, boys. What happened over there, Grego? We had a little lightning strike right outside the window.
The Texas Rangers win the World Series.
All right. Here's a tip for all these Americano League teams.
Wait, you said tip.
Yeah, tip.
Okay.
With a P.
Keep jamming.
The ticket, colon, nothing but a big Gen X jerk-off sale. This is a cool night or what? Although somebody would hear that and go, bullshit.
I'm back, bitches.
And here we are again. It's the start of the end, as Todd Rundgren once said. But I don't think it's really that. It is another episode of Your Dark Companion. That much I can tell you. I can tell you truthfully. And we are here today on the 3rd of February. It is a Monday. It is relatively warm and balmy here in the D today, as opposed to last week when we were in here when it was so cold in the D. But it's different out there today. Good to have you in here with us. We've got the crew here. The Hammer is here. Shoopy is here. Ashley is here. And I would be Mike Reiner. And boy, oh boy, what a day we have before us today. Do you like stories, Grego?
I love stories, Rhines.
I like stories too. And I like it when stories pop up. And one did this weekend. And I would imagine we're going to spend the majority of whatever time we have today talking about it. But you know what the coolest thing about it is? 2 weekends in a row now. 2 weekends in a row in which we have had a late night weekend sports news dump. Now, for those who don't understand the nature of the game, let me explain to you why this is so unusual. Usually, when teams or organizations have something going on, something to announce that they're not too proud of, like maybe one of their employees gets caught in an uncompromising situation in a public restroom or something like that, they got to fire him, but they don't want to do it in the middle of the day. What they do is they wait till the weekend. They wait till late at night on a Friday or Saturday night, and then they announce it because, you know, all the media is off for the weekend. And the media, if they have a press conference, the media is not going to want to disrupt their weekend. For one thing, Mama won't like that very much. And for another thing, they just don't want to do it. They don't want to disrupt their weekend to go out there and cover a news conference. So these organizations think that they can put it out late on Friday night, or as was the case here, Saturday night, and slide it underneath everybody. And while it will be a big deal, it won't be nearly as big as it would have been otherwise if they'd have done it in the middle of the week. And the important thing is they won't have to answer to it until later when it's had a chance to settle in with everybody. And then when they do have to answer for it, it's not such a big thing anymore because it's already out there. It's already been out there. It's kind of an old story.
That's the theory. But there are some stories that are unburyable. You can't bury them. No matter how deep you dig that hole, no matter how much dirt and concrete you put on top of it, you ain't burying a new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
No, you're not.
And then this other story, you're going to have to fill in the blanks, Ryan, because I've got 0 answers.
One thing for sure, you're not going to be able to bury it. I just think it's neat that here in our fair burg, when so few things happen, for 2 weekends in a row, we've had this. We've had big stories.
And you almost never see one in the sports world.
Yeah.
I mean, these are political stories that you bury. Like you said, something untoward, that you did sexually or whatever. That's when you bury that politically. But in the sports world, hiring a new coach, that you don't want to bury that. You want to promote that. And it's
unless you're the Cowboys and you're making a very unpopular choice for your new coach,
or perhaps an unpopular trade, But you're right.
Made once.
What are the odds on that going to happen? The odds, they're about the same that you're going to get 2 European generational talents in a row. That's about the odds on getting 2 Friday night dumps in a row.
Yeah.
Odds are long.
Odds are long.
And tall. And German. And Slavic.
The thing about it is, this is a trick that you usually see in the bigger media markets back east. They
invented it.
The weekend news dump happens there all the time. And it probably did originate somewhere up in that part of the world.
Like you said, Rons, the people that cover the reporters, the old crusty reporters, it doesn't matter. They're not doing anything on the weekend. That's their time to go to the Hamptons or whatever and hang out. They're not going to cover that, no matter what it is.
Besides that, Mama ain't going to like that if they get called into work on a weekend.
And so, and they perfected it. I mean, the newspapers are the ones that really perfected it.
Yeah.
By putting that late edition out on a Friday night, and then you've got a Saturday paper basically already done, and then you promote your Sunday paper. That's what they did.
I just think it's neat that it's happened 2 weekends in a row here, and it kind of makes us raise our head up a little bit and say, hey, we can play with the big boys too.
Yeah, but both stories make you look like you've got egg from ear to ear.
Well, that's the problem with somebody else.
You just want the Friday news dump. That's all you want.
That's right. That's right. That's all I care about. Well,
I never knew you were such a fan of the news dump.
Well, I really never I'd never had cause to think of it one way or the other until last week. And last week was when I really first came to understand and embrace the term. But the last thing I thought of was that a week later we'd be doing the same thing. I mean, it, like I say, it kind of makes it seem like we can play with the big boys.
Because there's no such thing as the accidental Friday news dump. You hold it for a reason, and you hold it those final hours on purpose.
Yeah.
It's all purpose.
Because you want everybody at home and asleep, and they're worried about if they have to go somewhere that mama's not going to like it. And
you know how if it's a news dump or not? If it is a news dump, then that's just the end of it. They make an announcement. But if they hold a news conference late on a Friday night, it's not. It's news.
Yeah.
And you didn't see any Cowboy news conference last Friday night.
No.
You saw a press release.
You did not.
No Mavs press conference on Saturday night either.
They shouldn't have held that press conference at all.
That did not go great.
Oh, my gosh.
Kid looked like he wanted to die.
Boy, he really did.
He looked like a man considering his options live, sitting there going, okay, all right, what's my record? What's my contract situation?
I respect that he at least tried to. I respect that he tried to put on a brave face, but my gosh.
Well, for those who haven't heard as of yet, and were wondering just what we're talking about on this Saturday night news dump, it was Saturday night, probably a little bit
11:12 p.m.
11, 12, okay.
is when Shams Charania first broke the news.
Right. There appeared on Twitter a note from what's his name?
Shams Charania. I believe I pronounced it right.
Charania.
That's
yeah,
such
I'm
a
not
fake
sure.
name. I've never heard of it.
I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but he is one of the NBA guys for The Athletic.
ESPN now.
Oh, for ESPN?
Yeah, he took over for Woj.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so
It only happened fairly recently.
that's right, because we have no more Woj bombs.
Yeah.
Woj has gone straight.
He got a straight gig.
Yes, he did get a straight gig. Well, anyway, Shams broke the news to all of us that there'd been a trade underway in the NBA.
Yeah. Says,
And-
breaking. The Mavericks are trading Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleba, and Markieff Morris to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. And he
And-
later had to follow up with, yes, this is real. Because everybody is saying that they had to double-check if it was his real account, if it wasn't one of those, like, parody accounts, and, oh, it's real.
I wouldn't have believed it.
I wouldn't have believed it either.
I'd have just kept scrolling, got, right, Mavericks trading Luka. That'd have been my attitude.
Yeah, like we had our little group chat going, the Stolen Water group chat, and Ashley and everybody's like, when I posted that tweet, they're like, okay, what are you doing, groups? Like, why are you doing a bit on Saturday night at 11 p.m.? Like, how could this be real? And Yvonne was despondent. They made the majority sad.
I didn't believe it for sure until I did the only thing I could do to find out what was really going on, or if there really was really anything to this. And that was text Skin
Mm-hmm.
and ask him. And my text was 3 words. Is this real? His text back to me was 2 words. Yes, indeed. So, okay, it's on. Luka Doncic is on. He is gone. Just like I always told you he would be.
You said he wouldn't
God,
stay.
I've been waiting for this.
Oh, yeah. He was the first person I thought of.
I've been waiting for this.
I'm not taking any kind
Yes,
of credit.
you are.
No, I'm not. I'm not taking any kind of credit, seeking any kind of glory for this, because I don't like this, man. I don't like the fact that Luka is not a Maverick anymore.
But would you ever thought it was via trade that he wouldn't be a Maverick and not being the bad guy and leaving Dallas?
No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have.
With
I
more
wouldn't.
than a
And
year
when
left on his
When I used
contract.
to irritate all the little Mavericks fanboys out there by every time
Boy,
his name
did
would,
you ever.
every time his name would come up on the radio, I would say, "You do know he's not going to stay, don't you?" Every time I used to irritate them with that. That's what I meant.
You had me
I thought the way this was going to end was he would stay here until he just couldn't take anymore, because they couldn't put a good team around him. And he finally became convinced that if he was ever going to win and was ever going to get a chance to play for a championship and maybe even win one, he was going to have to go somewhere else. And then in free agency, he would leave here, and that would be that. I did not think it was going to be like this. So I'm taking no real credit for this today, because I was only half right here.
That's pretty good, though, being half right. But it makes no sense. That's the whole thing with me. It is usually you can take, and I know you can break this down, and the Mavericks, what information do they have that we don't, that they're not releasing, that they don't want to ruin this guy's career? I mean, they don't want to come out and tell the real story, the absolute why they made this trade. I mean, that'd wreck the guy if there's something there. And once again, I'm implying there's something there. But there has to be, doesn't there? There's got to be an answer.
Well, put it this way. The thing I find very telling in it is because I spent the better part of yesterday reading stuff on this, reading what all the basketball guys out there were saying about this. And one thing became very clear early in that process, and that is that the Mavericks instigated this thing. It was not the Lakers. It was Nico picking up the phone and calling Rob Pelinka and saying, what would you, could we interest you in Luka? And then it went from there, I guess.
Yeah, over about a month period. And yeah, it really did just start as kind of like,
Okay.
what if we did this?
Okay. That
It's
makes
like,
sense.
what if we kissed?
That makes sense. Okay. And let's say that's true. Is Nika that type of general manager that's the way he's going to conduct business? He's going to deal with one person and one person only and going to be convinced that's the best deal that he can get for a talent like Luka.
And it started off with,
I mean, is he that type of GM? Because if he is, I'm not interested in him. That's not a good GM.
well, I was going to say,
Unless he's
Oh,
got
sorry.
information that we don't have.
yeah, something weird, but
And what would
yeah.
it be?
what the hell?
Does he just not want to deal with him? I mean, have they just had it with him that they just, yeah, we know how great he is. We know he's going to be good. We know he's 25 and we're trading for a 32-year-old, but we've had it so much, get him out.
I did see something from Mark Stein saying that the team Dallas has apparently cooled on Luka's insistence on using his own team of training experts. You know, after Casey Smith was let go about a year ago and all that, you know, Luka was hiring people with his own money and all that. Apparently the team didn't like that. And it's just, I don't know. It's really weird. And even just, I was going to say, you know, the trade started off as something closer to multiple first-round picks, Dalton Connect, and more, but it got chiseled down after Rob Pelinka was able to convince Nico Harrison that taking on Luka was a big risk due to his weight and injury history.
That's a bad negotiator.
Yeah.
I wish he dealt in guns. I'd like to make a deal with him on guns. Well, I'd come away with something. That's just bad negotiating.
Yeah.
I mean,
And he's the one that started it.
Every time Pelinka would tell me, yeah, but he's overweight. I'm like, he can lose weight.
Yeah.
You can't find somebody else that can play like him.
Get him some
Pelinka
Ozempic.
would say, yeah, he can lose weight, but he won't lose weight.
Yeah.
If he would lose
Yeah.
weight, he'd be losing it with you.
I know it, especially this day and time. Just get you some of that, Ozempic.
Yeah, Manjaro.
Yeah. I mean,
read
Luka's
yesterday-
he's the last fat guy on TV.
I read
Everybody
yesterday
else has his
we're
input.
part of last year, or there was a time last year when and I find this hard to believe. This is extremely far-fetched, but it was out there yesterday that there was a time last year when he weighed 270.
Mm.
Now, I find that difficult to believe. I don't think he was ever that overweight. And even if he was overweight, I mean, how much did that deter what he could do on the basketball court?
Well, it didn't this year, but they're thinking in the future. And once again, I'm just playing devil's advocate and try to find a reason. I'm just trying to give you a reason on all this.
That's what I want.
I don't.
I mean, no
maybe
idea
that
is
was
a
the
bad
thinking.
idea here.
Maybe that was the thinking.
You'll have to remember, though.
Yeah, he's good now. And yeah, he can fill it up now. But if we give him this super max and we can't sign other players and we're just stuck with him and all of a sudden he gets really bad overnight and we're stuck with, salary cap hell, maybe they're doing that thinking. I don't know.
You'll have to remember, though, 270 at 6'7" is a lot different than 270 at like 6 foot.
Yeah, but if he was at 270, even if he is 6'7", I think we'd know that.
You remember when Mike Dobbin came on?
Yeah,
The big guy?
yeah,
He's 270.
Pretty solid.
yeah. That's a pretty solid 270.
Like, I mean, 270 can be muscle. Think about tight ends and linebackers. Some of them aren't playing at 270.
I know that, but Luka has never been known for differentiating between the two.
He's got a little bit of baby fat on him
He's got a
still.
soft body. He's got one of those soft bodies, and you can put him in.
I believe the word is doughy.
Thank you, Ryan. That's good. He does. And you can put him on every kind of steroid in the world, and he's not going to be ripped. He's always going to have that doughy body. And you know who else had a doughy body? Larry Bird.
Yeah, look at him.
So,
Tom Brady.
yeah, well, he's
I would-
kind of ripped.
I would say Tom Brady was doughy. He's a lot of things. Doughy is not one of them.
He started off kind of doughy.
And he is handsome,
Yeah.
too.
Oh.
So there's that.
He got fillers and stuff,
He got what?
allegedly. He's had some work done.
Oh, really?
Have you seen his pictures from when he first got drafted and stuff?
He was doughy.
Yeah, there's a picture out there.
Like doughy.
Not like I can judge too
all right,
harshly,
he was
but
just getting out of college then.
he'd had some
you know?
snacks.
Everybody's doing.
See, that's another reason that you brought up a second ago, Rhines, about or Grooves, about the Mavericks having a problem with him having his own trainer. I got news for all these teams. You're going to have to get used to that. This is a new generation, and you're paying them an enormous amount of money, and they're going to get their own people and do their own thing. And one of the reasons is because they don't trust the teams. They don't trust team doctors. They've heard horror stories in the past about how trainers and doctors treat players. They don't trust them anymore. They're going to have their own people. Don't you agree, Rhines?
Yeah.
And with that kind of money, and so these teams, you better get used to it. That may be a negotiating cog there.
I guarantee you there are guys out there who have negotiated that into their contracts.
Well, Tom Brady did.
Yeah, but I guarantee you there are a lot of them that have. I'll bet on most teams. I don't know if it's decided one way or the other, but I'll bet at least somewhere around half of them do.
Didn't
and
Dirk,
that may be low.
Didn't Dirk have his own guy?
I mean, he had Holger. That's more for shooting and stuff, I guess. Or
yeah, Holger was the shot doctor.
Yeah, but that's still, I don't know.
But that's not a reason to get rid of a player like Luka just because he wants his own, trainers and his own dietitians. That's not a reason.
Yeah, we're wandering off course and burying the lead here.
And
the fact is,
you know what?
He is gone.
That may be where the answer is. Somewhere off over here in a rabbit hole buried up.
Yeah.
Or it may just be exactly what we're seeing. A guy that's been out of shape with a player that's trying to build an organization that's got a tremendous corporation behind him, probably giving him the pressure to, hey, this team needs to win. It needs to be viable. And he's making a business decision. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the answer is right in front of us.
Yeah, they have talked like there is more to this than just being out of shape, though. There have been some pretty vague hints that the Luka vibe has worn a little bit thin with a lot of people, and for this to come about, for us to be having this conversation, they pretty much had reached a place where they just had it with him. They had just had it.
I was going to say, like, Iztok Franco, who's pretty legit voice with the Mavs media and pretty close with the Lucas situation, says, person close to the situation described this trade as the ultimate Harrison power trip, calling him a power-hungry man. Another observer said Harrison removed anyone who held a different view and then listed people that have been close to Luka that have been let go in the last couple of years. Scott Tomlin, the VP of communications, Casey Smith, Igor Kokoskov was one of the coaches, Jamal Mosley, Jalen Brunson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Boban. It starts to look like it's not necessarily a coincidence that all these guys have been let go since Nico came in.
All right, so Luka is such a bad vibe guy in this organization that not only do they feel the need to get rid of him finally, but everybody who was on his side, I mean, if we are taking sides here, everybody who was on the Luka side or in the Luka camp or close to Luka or a Luka minion one way or the other has been let go. And there's some guys in that name that are in that list that you just named that are not, particularly basketball related, like Scott Tomlin, like Casey Smith. I mean, those guys aren't that close to basketball side, are they?
They're pretty close. Like, I think, Tomlin was the guy that at least was talking with Luka every day, when it comes to media stuff or even, sending Shippy his music choices or whatever. And obviously, someone like Casey Smith or Scooter Tomlin have been with the team for years before Luka came in.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would assume they do probably gravitate more towards him as he became more of the star, more of the focus, and kind of like they probably gravitated towards Dirk when he was here.
I just keep thinking that there were some other things about Luka that really began to wear on people and really began to annoy people. Those things have not come out yet. I don't know if they will, but I'll bet you they're in there somewhere. Because when you've got a guy like this, when you've got a singular guy, a guy who is one of one, a guy who can do things on the basketball floor, unorthodox as they might be, but he's still able to do things on the floor that nobody else can. And there's no real answer for. And he single-handedly can keep your team afloat. He single-handedly can take what is otherwise a pretty run-of-the-mill franchise and get it to the conference finals in 2 of the last 3 years. And you're going to trade that guy?
Makes no sense.
I just don't understand it, man. I just don't get it.
Unless it's just one of those down the road business decisions. But even then, it doesn't make sense.
And if you are going to do it, you pick out the Lakers because you think that's where Luka will want to go. And if he's going to go somewhere, he will go there and not bitch about it too much. But you don't even check into any other teams. I've heard a lot of people say that they suspect that if the Mavericks had really wanted to rock and roll with this thing and make a basketball trade, they could have made a lot better one than this.
I bet Jimmy Dolan would have liked to been in on this bidding with the Knicks, don't you?
What's he got that you would want?
Doesn't matter. He'll give you something. He'll give you something. It might be in the form of draft picks. They might have to do a 3 or 4 way deal, but for him to end up in Madison Square Garden, I bet he would have liked the shot of trying to put together a deal. It just doesn't make sense to deal with one. And it opens up conspiracy theories. This whole thing opens up stupid conspiracy theories.
Like those I just referenced.
Well,
I was just spreading a few of them.
But it's not far-fetched because nothing else makes sense. I mean, what if Nico Harrison picked up the phone, calls Plink and goes, hey, look, I know you're going to get out of there in a few years. And, maybe I want that gig. Why don't we make a deal for Luka? You can win a championship, leave me with a generational player in a couple of years. I'll roll in there and be the new deal and everybody be happy. Now, that's stupid thinking right there on my part. But is it? Is it any
I
more,
don't know.
Is it any more stupid than trade the generational player?
In a situation like this, nothing's off the table.
No, and I hate that I've got to think like that, but they're giving me no other ammo to think otherwise. I mean, my gosh, I was thinking about this driving up here, Rhines. Out of all the big, huge stories you and I have come on and talked about, this might be the biggest.
Yeah, I think it is.
We were there when the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, but we expected that, and we could see that coming. That was a story that was brewing. This is one that was dropped on us at 11 o'clock at night.
Yes, this was a news dump.
It's just a huge story. One of the biggest ones we've ever done. And my gosh, And you can't judge everything by social media, but I think we've got one pissed off town. I think this city is bent.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy reading all the reaction and just talking with people. Like I was at the Stars game last night. Thank you, Becca, for the tickets. And just everybody that I knew that I talked to just still can't believe it. Like it really did feel like a prank or just how the hell does it make sense?
Well, just look at it if you can. Separate yourself from everything else and look at it from the standpoint of basketball trade. Do you like it?
No.
Okay, there you go. There you go. I don't either. I think it's a terrible trade.
Yeah, and apparently like Nico didn't want to talk to or let any other teams know that Luka was available because it would flood his inbox with offers that might better the Lakers offer.
Oh,
so
God, isn't that just too bad?
Yeah.
You got a lot of people in your inbox.
Right. God forbid you have to negotiate instead of negotiating against yourself.
This is like the Dodgers trading O'Shaughnessy for Bryce Harper.
O'Shaughnessy.
That's what it is. You're getting a good player, Bryce Harper.
The other one.
Who are the Dodgers trading?
O'Shaughnessy.
Ohtani. Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani. Ashanti passed away a few years
Oh
ago.
my God. Okay. Well, you get the,
We know what you
that
mean.
would still be a bad
the
trade.
hitter pitcher guy, the hitter pitcher Japanese guy.
But
That's
even
what
then,
like.
it's
That's the same thing. I mean, you're trading the best young player in the game for a veteran that was really good at one time, but's getting old in age.
it's just so damn weird.
Or trading Jamar Chase for Mike Evans.
Yeah. Or what were you saying earlier? Like, what if someone came to the Chiefs and said, "Hey, what do you want for Patrick Mahomes?" They would just get laughed off the phone.
That's what it should have been with the Mavericks. But apparently the Mavericks are the ones, Ryan, that initiated the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, they're the ones that picked up the phone first.
And I'm
what-
sure the
I mean,
Lakers are like,
from everything I saw yesterday, I didn't see anything to even hint at the idea that the Lakers may have started this.
Mm-mm.
and
Yeah, and Nico acknowledged that. He said, "Hey,
Yeah.
he just
And the
wound
way
up
that
talking with Pelinka, and they've known each other for a while. So,
And if,
That's
like,
let's just-
and if this has
yeah.
been going on for some time, if they've been
Nearly a
ripping on
month.
this for some time, then man,
January 7th.
all this time that we thought Luka might be a Maverick forever, and that was. It sounds like they would have done just about anything to get rid of him somewhere.
Well, they made the conversation, the first one, January 7th.
Okay,
So,
well,
so
that
that's
may-
not the day it started, because it had to have started months before that, the talk amongst the Mavericks people, right?
So yeah,
well, it
so
sounds
that-
like it was Nico just wanting to do it, right?
He had to run it by the owners.
And apparently,
Yeah,
Patrick
Nico's got
Dumont
bosses
laughed
here.
at
I
him,
mean, he had to run it by the
and he
owners.
had to convince him, like, "No, I'm serious. I want to do this."
See, even the owners thought it was crap.
Yeah,
It just
dude.
doesn't make sense on any front. And I hate to keep being so repetitive, but it just doesn't.
Yeah,
You can't square it.
Even something like my understanding is with trading Luka now, it screws him out of like $100 million from the Supermax offer that he could have gotten. Like, if you're gonna get rid of him, at least hold on to him, sign him to the Supermax, and then trade him. Maybe, I don't know. Like, it almost feels like an FU to him. Of
Well, the one
like,
thing,
now that he's not with the Mavs, he loses out on a big chunk of the Supermax.
well, nothing. I hate
and he'll be
nothing more
fine, but
than
still,
people saying that somebody's disrespected, but the Mavericks did disrespect him.
Yeah.
I mean, the Saturday night news dump, that, and just the attitude of Nico during that press conference. I mean,
Yeah.
do you have any of that group? I mean, it's,
I don't
my
have.
gosh,
I've got different bits and quotes and all that,
did
but
you check that out, Ryan?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I did.
Could you believe that arrogance on that?
and he got up after like 3 questions,
Yeah,
basically like,
I just-
kid handle it. And Luka just literally just closed on a $15 million house like a few days ago. They couldn't have at least found some way to say, "Hey, maybe
Are you
wanna
kidding me?
swear."
Slap in the face.
I wonder if they knew that.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, if they've had nearly a
More
month
questions.
of, it's not like, I don't know. You would think they would know in some way. Like, hey, Luka's on the phone with his real estate agent right now. Wonder what's going on. He's just trying to buy a new house for his wife and baby.
I don't know. I don't like the fact that he's got that relationship with the Lakers guy, Pelinka. I don't like that.
Yeah, because they go back to
I don't-
when Nico was with Nike and Pelinka was Kobe's agent. And I know Kobe wasn't a Nike guy,
Well,
I guess,
Nico,
but
he was brought to Texas. He came here and got Finley. He got Dirk. He got Tim Duncan and a couple other senators. I mean, he was the Texas guy.
he got
for
that
Nike.
general manager job because he knows everybody.
Exactly.
In theory.
But you know what?
Mhm.
There's something weird. There's something weird about that guy, and something about him that always bothered me was the fact that he got a commission to go to West Point, and he spent 2 years there, and then he transferred out to Montana State. Why do you do that? Why do you transfer from West Point to where there's only 4,000 people that get in those service academies every year, and you got one of those positions and you bail out after 2 years?
Because he
Why?
didn't want to serve.
Because you don't like it there. That's
Could
why.
be.
Well, you get
Could
a
be,
you
but
get
why
an
would
opt
you, but
out.
why would you go there? Because you know what you're signing up for at West Point. Why would you even want to go there?
Well, maybe
That
it's,
just kind of bothered me.
maybe it's not what you thought it would be.
Could be.
I don't blame him for that.
I'm not blaming him. It's just a question. I mean, why would you do that?
Well, but so on that real quick, at least I know in baseball, you get an opt-out after 2 years for athletes so that you don't have to go serve. So if somebody is wanting, I mean, they do that for the entire academy, but athletes for sure. So if you don't want to serve, what a lot of athletes do is they go for 2 years, they get tape, they get film, they get college underneath them, and then they go out somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that they don't have to serve afterwards. But that's one of the things of the academy is after 2 years, you can determine whether or not you want to continue going.
I didn't know that.
You forfeit all of your money though.
But
Well, we will continue to riff further on all this in just a bit here. But first, if you like what we're doing here, or if you don't like what we're doing, would like to know, either way, you can reach us via chat under the community tab on the Patreon page. That's patreon.com/YourDarkCompanion, or hit us up on social media. We're all over the place out there. On Instagram and TikTok, we are at Your Dark Companion. On Facebook, we are just plain old regular garden variety Your Dark Companion. On X, we are at YDC_DFW. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're out here on Patreon, Spotify, and now catch special episodes of YDC and What's on Mike's Mind on YouTube. There you can find us at the Old Gray Wolf 16. That's all one word, gray with an E, 16 on the end. Remember, YDC and the Sunset Lounge are now free. Simply click the free member button at the top of the Patreon membership page to join and enjoy our regular shows for free. Also visit patreon.com/Sunset Lounge DFW and patreon.com/Your Dark Companion for other fun, interesting, and informational, no less, posts. All right, now back into this thing. We're discussing the shocking news, certainly among the most shocking sports stories that we have ever seen come down here in the game, or at least for me in my time in the game. I can't think of too many more that caught me more by surprise and made me just sit there and look at it and wonder, okay, is this real? Have I been hacked? And I was looking around at people the other night and they were doing the same thing. They were looking at each other, talking to each other, and then they would look at me like, what do you know about this? And I'm like, nothing. I'm seeing the same thing you're seeing. I don't know if it's real either, but yes, it is real. The time of Luka Doncic as a player for the Dallas Basketball Mavericks is over. He will now join the mighty Lakers. And in return,
that just sucks, man. God.
And in return, Anthony Davis is coming here.
AD to you, Rons. AD.
A Patty Reiner Davidson says Dallas defense just got better.
Ooh. Hi, Patty.
She would know. And I don't doubt that for a minute in the minuscule number of games in which he will be able to play, because Anthony Davis is an injury waiting to happen. Great player when he can stay out there. There was a time when we would have killed, literally killed, for some way to get Anthony Davis.
Who would you have killed?
Anybody and everybody.
Nice.
But this is not one of those times, because Anthony Davis is now a little bit older. That's another thing. The Mavericks are really losing out on the age game here. And in the NBA, the age game matters big time.
And how motivated is he going to be to come here and play for the Mavericks? You know what? Ron, you and I sat through Adrian Dantley. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, when they traded Mark Aguirre straight up for Adrian Dantley, and Adrian Dantley came in here and half-assed it about as much as any player I've ever seen.
Well, it's different now. Guys want to actually come here and play for the Mavericks now, because the Mavericks have been to 2 NBA finals in the last 3 years. But there was something here then that's not there now. That's not here now. What could that be? The most singular, one-of-a-kind player in the game of basketball? Maybe. That could be it. So are these guys going to be in any mad rush to get to the Mavericks now?
Yeah, if that's how Nico's going to treat Luka, how can anybody feel confident in going to sign him with? You think Kyrie wants to stick around?
I wonder what he thinks about all this.
I know he didn't play yesterday. Right? You couldn't tell.
Yeah.
What, did we lose by 100?
Got to be about 40.
Yeah.
Well, they were
Brutal.
They had an excuse.
That was understandable.
Yeah, that was understandable.
I wish I'd have been a gambler. You could have made a lot of money on that game.
I mean, the whole core of the very fabric of that team had just been ripped asunder and torn away. And now they're gonna have to build a pretty much a whole new chemistry.
Well, they're a different team now.
Yeah, they are.
They're a completely different team, and they've got to retool it on the fly. And do they have the players to do it? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. Kyrie Irving is a top player, and that guy can make a lot of things happen. And with Luka gone, you're going to see him do things now that he wasn't asked to do before.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe Kyrie or Anthony Davis can come in here, and Kyrie and he can form great chemistry, and who knows? It might not be that bad. But one thing it will be for sure is not as much fun to watch because they don't have the most singular, one-of-a-kind player in the NBA anymore because Anthony Davis can't shoot three-quarter court shots and swish them like Luka can. And it's fun to watch, man.
And he just doesn't go in and just absolutely bastardize a triple-double. He just every night going to get one. He made the triple-double expected.
Yeah.
I remember when a triple-double, when we go to reunion runs, that was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Because you never saw one. A triple-double. And this dude did it every night.
Luka made it routine.
Yeah.
He made the triple-double a far, far less big deal than it had ever been before.
It was like going to the baseball game every night and seeing a cycle.
Yeah, it was.
And it just such a unique player that they don't come along. Because if they did, they would have come along a long time ago, and they haven't.
Now, we probably should give a little love to the other Mavericks who are going along in this trade because there are a couple of other guys who are not going to be here anymore. And one of those guys was Maxi Kleber. I always liked Maxi. Maxi, number one, seemed like a great guy. And number two, he was useful. He was a role player, but he was a useful role player, and he seemed to be willing to do whatever, whenever, for whomever, at any time, day or night.
He's been here a really long
time.
He has been here for a while.
Every championship team has a Maxi Kleber, every one of them. They've all got that role, that guy that role that he plays. Every championship team.
So he's gone. And who was the other guy, Shoopy, that they?
That was Markieff Morris.
Okay, Markieff Morris. I never really understood why Markieff Morris was here to begin with because, I'm not throwing shade or anything like that. It's just that he was an older player and he rarely played. And the only reason I can think for him being here was to make it all work salary cap wise in some way. So yeah, Markieff Morris is gone. And in return, in addition to Anthony Davis, they're getting Max Christie. Anybody? Anybody got any data on him?
Who is he?
He is an American basketball shooting guard.
Ooh.
Okay, so he's a 2.
Yeah, he's been averaging 8.5 points, 2.7 rebounds.
What he is the mathematical equation to make that salary cap work.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
It is.
That's what he is.
It is. Can he make 3-pointers from 6 feet inside the half-court line?
Maybe.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say no, he can't. That is not his game. And if he were to even try one in a game, that would be viewed as very, very strange. As in, jerk him over to the sideline and say, man, what's your trip? So, yeah, they get him. And there are some draft picks coming up in 2029.
Just one, 2029.
One pick.
One pick?
Yeah.
And
One.
1 in 20, isn't it?
And it's going to be the Lakers pick, and you traded them one of the top 3 players in the league, so they're going to be good. So you're going to get the 30th pick.
Wasn't the
You
other
get
one
80 in the 30th pick.
like a 3rd round or something like that in 2031?
I mean, that was thrown out there, but, you know, Rob Pelinka convinced Nico that, well, Luka's going to get hurt and stuff. Like, we can't take that risk.
So we didn't even get the second
No.
pick. That's
And yet here is the Spurs right down the road. I mean, they make a trade and get Fox in there. He's going to help the string bean Frenchman. And they get 5 draft picks, all of which they will pick before the Mavericks pick their 1. They get 2 first and 2 third and 3 seconds. 5 draft picks. Mavericks get 1.
You know what this is? At the end of the day, this is an example of horrible general managing.
It is.
Unless they were so put out with Luka, so incredibly put out with Luka, so tired of him, or just had it with him for whatever reason, that they just felt like they had to get rid of him, and they sold cheap.
Who's enemy number 1 in Dallas right now? Jerry
Nico.
Jones or Nico?
Nico.
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Oh, not today.
And does it stay that way for a while?
No. This will fade slowly, but the Cowboys are always going to be the top story, no matter what. No matter what.
If Jerry wanted to he could do something today
and be
that would knock this thing so far off the front page, it's not even funny. He would have us back in here at 4:00 this afternoon, doing a whole nother podcast about what he's up to if he wanted to.
I was going to say, what would the equivalent be?
Firing Steven and telling his whole family that they're stupid and they're the ones holding him back, and hold a press conference and say that.
I kind of want that now.
Well, you know what?
Yeah. That's close as we can get.
And telling everybody that he's going to adapt Christianity.
Yeah, or Buddhism.
And he's going to quit drinking.
Shave his head. Yeah, but he could.
No more Johnny Walker Blue.
Which I've been arguing with a
Just
lot
John
of people
3:16.
on this. But, and Ryan, you were there, but the Herschel Walker trade was every bit as big as this. Maybe bigger, since it was the Cowboys. The only difference is back then you had a couple radio stations and 3 newspapers covering it, and that's it. Everybody didn't have the internet. They didn't have social media to scream and holler. But this was every bit as big a story in 89, and there wasn't one person, back me up, Ryans, that was on board with that trade in 89. Not one person, just like it is today.
Yeah. They traded the one good player they had for draft choices. Now, those draft choices were really good draft choices. And it just so happened that at the time, there was a genius who knew how to handle draft choices and knew what to do with those draft choices and knew how to construct a football team around what little he already had and those draft choices. But we didn't want to hear any of that back then.
But the problem then was the genius that was doing that was then at that time the biggest idiot in town. A bigger idiot than Nico Harrison is today. Jimmy was a bigger idiot than Nico. He was.
Yeah.
And Jerry hired Jimmy. So he was a bigger idiot. And nobody in town was on board with this. Like I said, the only difference, you didn't have the outlets to scream about it. But this town was every bit as upset. Nobody was going to go to the games anymore. They were going to boycott.
Oh, yeah. There was all this high-minded big talk about there were going to be fans revolts and all that stuff.
All that was there. And, you know, and you'd say, but you don't understand. They got 2 number 1 picks, 2 number 2s, and 3 number 3s. They didn't want to hear that. They would tell you to F right off. That was the attitude of the fans. They didn't want to hear about a draft pick. Jesse Solomons? I mean, he was famous because he wouldn't shake Jerry's hand. That's how on board he was with the trade. So They were every bit as bent. But a lot like Ryan's news dump, getting those two kind of stories of those two kind of trades in the same town, even 30 years apart, that's still remarkable.
It's still big. It's still big. But we play on. In the end game, we have no choice but to just see what they run out there and play on. But, man.
And remember, at this time in 89 Rhines, the day after, nobody was taking this kind of attitude. It was the worst thing that ever happened. They're never recovering.
Yeah.
But yet they did. So this has a chance. I don't think anybody likes it like they didn't then, but there is that magical question, what if it works?
Yeah, there is, but for it to work, the basketball equivalent of Jimmy is going to have to walk through those doors out there. And I don't think that character exists.
No. And it's a whole different mindset. It's a whole different sport, a whole different culture, society. Everything's different, but the premise is there that that your best player, and in the case of the Mavericks, but maybe their best player ever, arguably, he's gone. Like Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker certainly wasn't the best player in the NFL, but there were 31 other teams that wanted him.
Yeah, there were. And, I don't know if Luka is going to be the best player the Mavericks ever have. The way this game goes, there may be a 12-year-old over in Slovenia right now that can run circles around him. But that doesn't mean he'll wind up here. Luka Doncic wound up here. And, man, I don't like this. I know I'm the one that said he's not going to stay and all that stuff, and that I didn't like him, and there were a lot of things about him that really bugged me.
I'm not going to allow you to back down on this. You're trying to back down now. I'm not going to allow you to back down.
No,
You're trying to have it both ways.
Well,
you're trying to have the prediction.
I'm not.
And then Indy Grooves, he's trying to have it both
staying
ways.
out of this.
No, you jump in. I need help.
He's the one that employs me.
That's all right.
I don't want to be Nico'd.
That's all right. You say what you want. You're not going to get Nico.
Which, by the way, is there any chance that we are not absolutely torched by Luka for the next 15 years that he plays in Dallas or against the Mavs?
Man, those will be huge nights when he comes back
it's
here.
50 plus every game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be.
I guarantee you, he is leaving here with an axe to grind.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to discuss the pettiness of Luka thus far. Has been amazing. He posted a picture of his call log. This might be fake news, but it doesn't look like fake news. He posted a picture of his call log, and it was like Nico had called him a bunch of times, and he didn't answer, and then LeBron had called him, and he did.
So does that mean that he got the news from LeBron?
No, I think he got the news, but like Nico had been calling him to like check in or something like that, and he wasn't taking Nico's call because he's pissed.
Yeah, Nico has said that Luka hasn't responded to texts or calls.
If we believe what they're saying, and he didn't know anything about this, and he's out tooling around on a Saturday night, and all of a sudden somebody calls and goes, you just been traded to the Lakers. Would you be interested in talking to the guy that just traded you?
Mm-mm. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I would.
Well, most people...
I'd want to tell him what I think of him.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe they did in the earlier conversation, and Nico kept calling back after Luka hung up on him.
I got to find that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm at least not seeing anything on his Twitter, but I am seeing that the Luka banner is coming down from the AAC right now.
Oh, and see, that's just a bad video. I mean, it's just a bad optic.
Yeah.
Because all the TV stations will be around there to be on the news tonight. Here comes Luka's poster coming down.
Yeah, well,
you'll get
got to do it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But also think about, the Mavs in-game video team, the Mavs TV people, Mavs radio, all the Luka sound bites and clips and everything they're going to have to remove. Like, what do you think those hype videos are going to look like now?
He's the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
And it's hard to erase a face.
Right. Oh, and Maxi's gone too, and he's probably in everything too.
He's been here for like a decade.
Literally. Yeah. It's just brutal. WTF, Shoopy?
Just
I don't know, Shoopy.
every time you uncover a rock, there's 4 more rocks under it on possibilities and just unanswered questions.
Just scorpions ready to sting your face. That's how this feels.
That too.
Yeah. Too far, maybe?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
But you're right, Grooves.
Although
He's-
I don't really know what that means.
I don't either.
He'll be sharpening his blades every time he comes
Yeah.
in here. Good gosh. And how are the fans going to react?
I don't know.
I think they're going to cheer for him.
'Cause
I think they all turn into Laker fans that night.
Watch them all wear Lakers jerseys.
Wonder how many
Yeah.
jerseys he's going to sell this week.
A lot.
That should be something to track next week. Find out how many jerseys he sold. Laker
Yeah.
jerseys.
I just wonder how many people are going to be interested in Mavericks basketball going forward. You know,
Because the Mavericks had really done the impossible. I mean, somehow they had carved out a niche of very, very loyal fan base and kept them through all the Cowboy stuff, knowing that they're always going to be second tier, but they had a very loyal base. Are they going to turn on them? It sounds like they are.
And now that they know that, this clearly shows that we don't have Mark Cuban running things, it's going to be a lot more analytical, or ownership is just basically going to stay out of it. I'm starting to read a story that ESPN just put out, detailing some of the stuff on this where, Dumont and the Adelsons, they just see it from a business standpoint now of, this theoretically helps our payroll later. So, okay, do what you got to do, Nico.
But I will make this one little prediction. In the end, I guarantee you, gambling is going to be part of this. Gambling will be part of it.
I've seen
no
that
doubt.
theory that
In the end, because
there's no doubt.
because right now the Adelsons, they are pumping all kinds of money into Austin, and they're losing. They've already got defeated. That casino bill, it got defeated. They can't do it for 2 more years, and they've got to have 2 more years to really put together a political campaign and get this done.
yeah, 'cause I've seen
and then you can go all kinds of theories after that. Are they purposely tanking the team where it sucks?
try to
Where
get them to
there's
Vegas.
where there's no way that the people here will give them a new stadium, and they say, well, we got to go to Las Vegas.
Yep.
That's conspiratorial. That's a conspiracy theory. But,
I can't imagine that.
well,
I
I
know,
can't.
but there's a
but you know
post
what?
out there that's breaks it down pretty well, and
Gambling is
it's
going
at
to be
least
because
there's
and
might be
see-
something there.
See, this is the biggest gambling mecca in the country right now. Is Texas, and everybody wants it. And they've got a group they're fighting in Fort Worth that I know very, very well, and it's a big competition between the Sands people, which is Adelson, and the Fort Worth people, and both of them are heavily involved in Texas politics, and it's getting real dirty. And one thing Texans don't like is people coming in and tell them how to do their business. And that's what these Sands people are doing. And so who's going to win? I don't know. But that is in play. And I'll bet you
Isn't there?
over the end somehow, Rhines, that this trade is somehow going to be involved with a gambling decision.
Isn't there a group in Arlington too trying to turn?
There's all kinds of groups.
Yeah, I was gonna say because
But there's 2 big ones in Texas. The Sands people coming out of Las Vegas and a Fort Worth group.
Well, it's bound to happen sooner
Yeah,
or
well,
later.
you know when it started? In
When?
1980. This started in 1980 because Billy Bob Barnett was the first one with the vision of putting casino gambling in Fort Worth because he was big buddies with Benny Binion. And that's what they were going to do. So this goes back to 1980. They've been working on this for a long, long time. And the Fort Worth people aren't going to give up. And they don't seem to be intimidated by the Vegas people. So,
Well, it's one way or the other. Vegas people, Fort Worth people, whatever.
yep.
There's going to be a day when it's going to be here.
Yes.
It is going to be amongst us, and you'll be able to roll up there on Greenville Avenue and throw down a bet if you want to. Maybe a little prop action.
But you can already do that by just picking up your phone.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
I know. I mean, they're fools to not expedite the matter. But
because you have no idea how much money goes across that Red River every day from Texas to gamble.
wasn't that on our last voting like when we all voted not too long ago, wasn't that on the last one?
Well,
If
see,
we
they're
wanted to pass, if we were behind the bill passing
See,
or
kind
not.
of, they had it on a referendum, and the referendum didn't get out of a committee house.
Okay.
And so, in other words, they didn't pay off enough senators.
I didn't remember if it was primaries or the main one, but I know I voted yes.
They know they can't get this on a general ballot. If they do, it's going to pass. And so there's a group of people, most of them funded by Baptist, that are, well, you know what?
I didn't mean for
know
us
all
to get
this-
that kind of
I know I
political.
sound like
Thanks,
an idiot
Ashley.
I'm sorry.
conspiracy, but it's the truth. I mean, that's why Texas didn't have horse racing forever. The Baptists fought all the, border states.
I'm down.
Baptists
If they want to bring
Texas.
some gambling here, I'm down.
That's going to happen sooner
No,
or
it's
later.
there's no doubt it's
bound
going to
to.
happen.
I mean, think of all the things that are moving to DFW in general. Like you've got Universal. Didn't they just pass like a Mario Land or something like that up in Frisco too?
Mario Land.
Yeah, it's some like big another theme park almost. And then McKinney's about to get an airport, like a big airport, not just a little podunk. It's like
Little
a big
hub.
Yeah, it's gonna be like another
Another Addison.
love field. No, it's gonna be like a love field.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
DFW is one of the fastest growing, suburban areas in the country.
Yeah, it's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if gambling is on the chopping
And
block
the more
next.
people that move here from out of states, they're used to gambling. They're used to going to these casinos, and they want them here in Texas. And now they're going to vote.
And now they own the Mavericks.
Well, that's the Vegas people.
Does this equate like the amount of mourning being done for this particular thing? Y'all had mentioned Herschel Walker, but is that like a similar situation with like Nolan Ryan too with the Rangers?
No, he got hurt and had to retire.
No. I'm talking about when they let him go as the GM. Like, I mean, the people were pissed. I was trying to think of just scenarios that could equate.
Yeah, where JD kind of was hated for a while because of that.
Not even close.
Even though, but
yeah,
I think this is still just
it's almost
multitudes.
apples and oranges.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a BFD though.
yeah, it was for sure. It was, and I don't downplay Nolan's significance or anything like this, but this is a whole different deal.
The dude's 25.
Yes.
It's like, even if you
25
think
should
he
be.
might have some bad habits, you don't give him a chance to try to work through them. I'm 39. I still have a S load of bad habits. Look at
And
Hammer.
even if he doesn't,
Yeah, look at me.
even if he doesn't work through bad habits, he still goes out there and gets you 35 points a night.
Yeah.
Along with a bunch of rebounds and a bunch of assists.
And seems to be a really damn good teammate.
If he
and-
comes back and is healthy the rest of the year, can you say the Mavericks cannot win a championship? You can't. So they had a chance to win a championship.
Yeah, with him.
They had a
did.
chance with
Yeah.
him. They did. They don't now. I don't think they do.
No, I don't either.
And did you see something else Nico said was, this trade was done for the next 3 to 4 years, try to go for the quicker short-term success. He and Kid are probably going to be, as he says, buried, 10 years from now. So it's essentially screw the future. We're just trying to win now, but this is how they do it.
They learned from the Celtics guy that you like so much.
You know what? I don't have a
Joe
problem with
Mazzulla,
that attitude.
nothing matters.
I don't have a problem with that attitude, but he didn't act on that.
Right. That's what's confusing.
He didn't. Because if you do, the first thing you don't do is trade away your most prized commodity.
Yeah.
You don't do that. So he's not backing up what he's saying.
Mm-mm.
No, it's insane. It's just crazy. And I'm still having a hard time getting my head around it.
We
But-
had somebody on Patreon say, as of yesterday, I'm a Thunder fan. Go Thunder.
That is a good team
Well,
to follow.
see, that's, I remember when everybody, well, I'm an Oiler fan now. Well, I'm Houston. No more Cowboys. Same thing.
And we had Robert, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, say, Shoopy, help the Metroplex heal.
Oh,
I think he's talking to you, Shoopy.
I think we did.
You think we helped the Metroplex heal?
Yeah.
We're trying, man. We're trying for you.
Is
'Cause
that
that's-
a red Dallas Stars?
Yeah,
Cap?
it's like a giveaway. What was it? Yeah, from Fox Sports Southwest a few years ago. It's like
Okay.
what the Rangers had a Dallas Stars night or vice versa.
I don't like them.
That's extremely
I don't like-
bastardized.
I don't like that stuff, man.
I'm sorry.
No, it looks good on you, Groups. Oh, it does. It looks
Okay.
good on you. It's just I get jarred when I see like every once in a while in the mall you'll see like a green Yankees cap.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just can't deal with that. But it looks good on you.
Thank you.
Like they said in Caddyshack, looks good on you.
I don't think it does, Shoopy.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
you know what?
I don't think it does.
I'm not going to fight you. I want to still do the show on Wednesday with you.
Well, the show on Monday is over with, and we certainly thank you for your time today. Thank you for putting up with us as we try to work through this thing, this incredible sports happening
We're hurt.
that came down this past weekend. Yeah, we're hurt.
We're hurt. We're hurt.
It's been the healing process.
Yeah.
And we thank you for helping
We're
us through
victims.
it.
We're victims.
We are.
So, for Shoopy, for Ashley, for Mickey, for the Hammer, thank you once again, Grego.
You bet.
Always appreciate having you in here for these things. I'm Mike. We'll see you next time.
All right. I'm gonna go take my pants off.
Your Dark Companion is a Stolen Water Media presentation.